Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 8 review, Game Week 9 preview. Very late video coming in between a lot of travel for me, so let's keep it nice and short. This week, starting off with the table, not a lot of movements, but we can see in the top and bottom half, there are some battles that are being fought there. Dora the scorer just on the edge of jumping into the top page, now beating both of the champions who still have Fatih sandwiched in between. And then we've got Iron Wall AFC that's dropping a little bit. At the bottom it's pretty stable. Top 6 are also fairly stable, as you can see. Now 6 teams averaging 60 points per game week. It's all happening here. Let's have a look at the player selections. So Staples, Erling Haaland are moving up. 85% of managers owning him. Anton Semenyo at 80%. So these guys are pretty much locked in for most managers. Mo Salah is at 60%. João Pedro at 55% so far. And now we look at the differentiators for this week. Big moves this week. Kyle Walker with 14 points owned just by one manager. Daniel Ballard as well, one manager coming up with double figures. Pedro Neto with 12 and Jean-Philippe Mateta, big one, 17 points with a hat-trick. Just one manager that had him and played him this week. So fantastic differentiators here for the managers that were involved. Now looking at the hits and misses though, big one on the defense as well. Iron Wall for myself and Squish, which is fantastic. To be expected from her, a bit of a surprise for me. Looking at the Stonewall as well, 20 points, a lot of people picking it up. So Didi, Fatih, Atta, Suad's all out. Pai as well, Zax, Mohamed Sadiq, Fatih, Azra, Ansu, Sai, and Umar, everyone picking up Stonewall points. So a lot of good defenders in that mix. For the elite strikers, just 5 that picked up more than 30 points there. Hassan, Fatih, Atta, myself, and Azra picking up more than 30 points. And from the super striker side, again, there's a whole host there. Suad, Hassan, Pai, Zax, Mohamed Sadiq, Mubs, Mohamed Amin, and we're all picking up there. So quite a few big points coming this season. And our favorite for hot benches, this is her third hot bench already this season in just 9 or 8 game weeks. Fatih is in there with 19 points on the bench this week. Very unlikely. Now looking at the best possible selection based on that, you can see Dubravka gets the goalkeeper's jersey this week, putting Roofs on the bench with 7 points. Walker, Cucurella, Esteve, Ballard, and Gabriel making up the back end. Then you've got Neto and Rutter taking up the midfield. Midfielders are on the bench this week, Soboslai, Inde, and Rogers. And you've got Mateta taking the captain's armband, and Erling Haaland coming in with a couple of goals, and Nick Waltemar scoring now in his 4th Premier League game in a row and 5th overall. This team would have got you 135 and then a total of 157 including the bench boost at a very affordable 96. So I'm going to leave that on screen so you guys can pick that up. Now let's go across to look at the matchups coming up for the next 10 game weeks. So when we look at that, we can see some of the call-outs here. Aston Villa have a very tough couple of games coming up, Manchester City and Liverpool. So even though they are on a resurgent move, probably not the best time for them coming up. Looking at Bournemouth as well. Those that have Senesi, Semenyo, this is a tricky set of fixtures coming up before they hit a good green patch coming ahead. Calling out also Fulham, some tough games coming up ahead with Newcastle and then City down the line. In between they have some sandwich there, but they are a little bit struggling on their squad. Man City, 4 tough games coming up. Aston Villa, who are again pretty resurgent. Then Bournemouth, who are not to be slept on. Liverpool, which is a possible title clash. Newcastle after that before they hit a good game vein of form. They do have Erling Haaland in fantastic form, so maybe not panicking just yet. And then the last one to call out is Sunderland. Now Sunderland has been one of the fantastic promoted teams, sitting in 7th place, beating a lot of established Premier League teams. But they have 2 tough games in the next 3 against Chelsea and Arsenal, both teams that are rampant in Champions League, so expect them to go big for goals. And then Liverpool, Man City further down the line, so key double headers coming up there. Let's see how Sunderland can cope with this run as it comes. Looking at the teams that we're going to focus on, just 4 that we want to call out for this week as well. Arsenal for sure on good form, taking on a tricky Crystal Palace side, but then Burnley and Sunderland back to back. The struggling Spurs won in a North London derby before they get to Chelsea. Chelsea themselves have 4 clean matches out of 3, fairly winnable, and again Spurs are not looking really strong. So before that Arsenal fixture, Chelsea have the option for scoring a lot of points. Tricky for FPL managers because Enzo Maresca has to rotate his squad, and they have Champions League games in that space, so it becomes a bit tricky as well. Looking at Newcastle is the other team that we're calling out. Fantastic form currently. Anthony Gordon is coming back into this space. Nick Waltemada is just scoring non-stop at this moment in time. Some fairly winnable fixtures before they get to Manchester City, and then not such bad fixtures after that as well, going to the next 10. So still a good run for Newcastle. And the last one we call out is West Ham. Now, West Ham we know haven't been having the most fantastic luck as well, but a new manager who's super established, Nottingham Forest, Nuno Espirito Santo, who is really good defensively. So expect him to try and capitalize against Leeds and Burnley, while also maybe activating Jared Bowen to try and get those additional goals in there. They do have a few other tough games in between, but we do think it's a fair shout out for West Ham. With that, let's jump into our picks for players. So Alisson's still out for Liverpool, which means you still got Mamadashvili if you plan on taking a punt on him. Looking at the defenders, a few of them coming back into it now, but Newcastle still missing Livramento and Hall. Mings is doubtful at Aston Villa for this key matchup this weekend with Manchester City. Levi Colwill is still out long term for Chelsea. Branthwaite still out for Everton. Aina is out for Notts Forest, and Romero is doubtful for Spurs. Now, that leaves us with the picks. Now, Reyes becoming a fairly expensive pick, but he is good because of Arsenal's defensive record. Pope, the same with Newcastle. He's not as expensive, but he's a top goalkeeper currently, doing really well this season. And Sanchez for Chelsea in the next 4 games, providing he doesn't get himself red carded, he has a fantastic chance to pick up max points for goalkeepers based on those fixtures. In the same way, we're looking at the Chelsea defenders. So Chalopa's back is fairly affordable in that defense, and Reece James has shown some fantastic form recently, really good on attacking and pretty much getting the minutes because of his captaincy. You also have options in Marco Correa. He's pretty expensive at this moment in time, but you can mix and match around that Chelsea defense. Call out for Guardiola for Manchester City. He is a risk of rotation, but he is pretty good on his attacking returns. Gabriel and Timber are the 2 locks for Arsenal. David Saliba has definitely dropped off this season. Calafiori is a bit on a rotational risk, but these are the 2 that we're looking at for Arsenal. And then you've got Dan Burn from Newcastle, who's been fantastic, and Mark Gay is the call-out from Crystal Palace. With that, let's move on to the midfield. Again, Arsenal missing Madueke and Odegaard, but they do have a squad that can manage that. Spurs are missing Madison and Kulusevski, probably going to be a whole season with those 2, and Palmer still out until probably after the next international break for Chelsea. Casido and Enzo are still doubtful, but they will play because they have been playing even in the Champions League and doing really well, so expect them to be in there. Rodri is still doubtful for Manchester City, but expectation is that he will play after making an appearance in the game in the Champions League. Mitoma still doubtful, and Gravenberch still doubtful for Liverpool as well. Now, on the picks, we're going to call out Mo Salah again this week. Even though he's been blanking recently, he does have a good fixture against Brentford to see if he can get FPL managers to hold him. If not, I feel that he might start dropping. Then for Manchester City, we've got Reinders and Foden, who are probably still the picks for Man City, and probably the ones that are most locked in for minutes and points. Semenyo is still the best midfielder for this FPL season, so you might want to hold on to him because his price is pretty volatile. From Spurs, you're looking at Kudus and Tel again. Kudus because of his creativity, and Tel because he has an option to play up front as a striker. From Arsenal, we're looking at Saka, Martinelli and Rice, all attacking options that have pretty good minutes to play. And then from Chelsea, with Palmer missing, we're looking at Neto and Estevao being the creative midfield resources for Maresca to play. Rodgers from Aston Villa, and then Ismail Assar from Crystal Palace are the picks. And then looking into the forwards as well, guys. Gabi Jesus and Kai Havertz still out. Dilap, Wissa, Solanke, all of them looking to possibly make returns after the next international break in November. Then Rodrigo Muniz is out, and Evan is highly doubtful. For the picks, Erling Haaland still remains top of the pile. His scoring form is fantastic this season. Nick Waltemada is also contributing a goal at a time, but definitely well worth the shout out. Ugo Ekitike has a chance to start for Liverpool. Isak picking up a knock in the Champions League fixture, means he probably will not start that fixture coming up on the weekend. So a chance for Ekitike to again try and seal that opening spot as a striker. Benjamin Sesko at Manchester United looking to help them to 3 wins in a row in the Premier League. So look for him to lead the line. João Pedro from Chelsea, not because of his form, but more because of Chelsea's fixtures in the next 4 weeks. And also with the missing Dilap, he's probably guaranteed to start. Mark Guiu did start for the Champions League game and did score. So look at the possibility of rotation. But that's our call out for João Pedro. Igor Thiago in blistering form, so look at him trying to make some play there for Brentford. Tough game this weekend playing against Liverpool, but Liverpool's defense has been a bit shaky, so possibility there for him to score. Victor Gyökeres coming off a brace in the Champions League, so a chance for him to score again for Arsenal with some favourable fixtures. Hasn't had the same form here, but let's see how it goes. And then of course the call out here for Jared Bowen. Good fixtures coming up for West Ham as well, and a chance for Nuno to actually turn him into the Chris Wood of this season and make sure that Jared Bowen gets a lot of goals. So guys, that's what we have in this very short video for this very, very busy week. It's going to be interesting. Let's see how the match goes between Arsenal and Crystal Palace, both teams that have been doing really well this season, and a chance for Liverpool and Manchester City, Chelsea, the chasing pack, to have Arsenal trip up against Crystal Palace and give them a chance to jump back into the title race. That's all we're going to have for now. Don't forget to make your changes. It is a Friday 7:30 p.m. deadline, so make sure that you are going to have your changes done tomorrow, guys, or you're going to miss out. Good luck. That's all we have for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know how things are going for your FPL season. That's all we have for now. Until the next time.